The art of war is about not being aggressive. How do you do that? Well, don't be aggressive to yourself and don't be aggressive to others. It's kind of like common sense if you're not doing wrong to anybody else. If you're not doing anything wrong to yourself, it's obviously impossible to achieve entirely. We make people mad by mistake, or sometimes we just bring people displeasure, and we didn't even do anything wrong. Now that's not a form of aggression, but in their eyes it is, and then your reality is what other people are thinking, even if it's delusional. That's a reality that you have to deal with. It's not necessarily what's in your head. I know I'm not doing anything wrong, right? And so it takes an open heart to be wide open in order to understand that these are just the type of things that happen in life, and to deal with things unerringly, like Sun Tzu says in The Art of War. And you have to have a calm mind. One of the aims of The Art of War is invincibility, which means defense. You can make yourself invincible, but you can't make others vulnerable. Vulnerability is a matter of attack. If others are vulnerable, and if the laws of war indicate that victory is certain, then Sun Tzu says it is surely time to do battle. But if the laws are war indicate that victory is not certain, even if the government orders war, then you're not to go to war. And in life, this war means like some type of event where it's competition, it's competitive. If you can avoid it, some things can't be avoided. They just got deadlines on the job and stuff like that, or events in life. This is going to happen on this date. And so the idea is to be prepared as much as possible ahead of time. Like The Art of War says, one of the 5 ways of knowing who will win is facing the unprepared with preparation. So you have to be prepared ahead of time. And remember, in order to make strategies, you have to have good tactics. And a tactic is whatever skill or whatever it is that you're doing, and how well you know it will determine how well your strategies are going to be, right? Strategy is to supplement extraordinary tactics. Sun Tzu, Chapter 1, Strategic Assessments. And a big part of using the art of war is knowing yourself and knowing others. And if you know yourself and you know others, he says, you will not be imperiled in 100 battles. But if you know yourself and you don't know others, you will lose one for every one that you win. And if you don't know yourself and you don't know others, you will be imperiled in every single battle. Never face a high hill and never oppose someone with their backs to a hill. What does this mean? It means they have that leverage that you don't, and if you oppose them, go against them, they'll crush you, right? Even if you're standing on the same plane together and it seems like the momentum is equal. Let me see, here we go, side by side. But if you get into some type of contention, this person is up, they're backing uphill, you're trying to fight uphill. Never fight uphill. This is what people say, well, get the high ground. That's all in the art of war, right? On steep terrain, get the high ground first. Unless someone's there, don't pursue that area. And so the art of war is a way of adapting and using strategy to maneuver, Chapter 9, through this world by using the force of momentum, Chapter 5, by doing strategic assessments, Chapter 1. So the ground is the path, the ground is the place of pitched battle. The ground gives rise to measurements. Measurements give rise to calculations. Calculations give rise to comparisons, and comparisons give rise to victory. You should not press a contention in a duly established power structure. When you're in a duly established power structure, and there's no one to contend with, then not pressing a contention is a social duty. Pleasure and displeasure should not be arbitrary. You should not go against those who have done no wrong just because they bring you displeasure. We see this all the time. And we should not go along with those who are doing evil just because they bring us pleasure or doing anything wrong. All right, and I'm sure we've all been guilty of this at one point or so in our life. And you can understand that. It's so easy to do. It's so easy that something triggers in you and you don't even know this person, and all of a sudden you've made some bad judgments about them and you didn't even give them a chance. Maybe they remind you of somebody else, right? But that's not that person. So already they've given you some displeasure. But pleasure and displeasure should not be arbitrary. Now, on the formation of opportunity, if you can see events but cannot adapt to take advantage of them, then you are not wise. If you see trends that take place and you cannot act on them, then you are not courageous. And if you see events that you know that are coming with opportunity and you don't make preparations, then you are not intelligent. Now, there are also other levels where you might be intelligent but laid back. So, like Mastering the Art of War said, you're vulnerable to attack. Those who are greedy and materialistic are vulnerable to loss. 3 aims: invincibility, unassailable strength, and victory without battle. Those are the 3 aims of the art of war. So if you can stay within those realms by following the number 1 rule, which is to not be aggressive. It's like Sun Tzu says, it's not necessarily beneficial to have more strength, only to avoid acting aggressively. It is enough to consolidate your power, assess opponents, and get people. That's all. So you're expanding, you're growing, and taking advantage of opportunity without making waves, without getting into fights, without making people mad if possible, making waves. We know sometimes that's impossible, but as long as you're not doing anything wrong, right, and that you're not being aggressive, that's all that matters. Sometimes it takes time for people to get used to change, or if it's just sudden, all of a sudden, then sometimes they automatically just have this resistance. That's why another good book to complement this one is the War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. A really great. I can't say that I had it or I read it, but I did listen to the audio book. I have it on my and he's not paying me. Nobody from the book or anything is paying me for this, saying that. But you might want to look into that. And so I'm trying to give some examples of people who are quick to burn bridges with people, but that's traffic ground in the art of war, one of the 9 grounds, chapter 11. And the rule is, let there be no blocking off of traffic ground, right? Especially destroying, but even to block off, because they can be used as routes to bring food and water and supplies or whatever. But see, metaphorically, when you convert this over, it also means through people, because people are like bridges, and opportunity can come through people, because all things come through people. So to just go around being aggressive and burning bridges and so forth is not beneficial. Like Sun Tzu says, it's not necessarily beneficial to have more strength, only to avoid acting aggressive. It's always beneficial to avoid acting aggressively, because, as he says, victory can't be manufactured. It can only be discerned. So you can only see opportunity as it arises, but you can't manufacture this opportunity. Like tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I want to hit the lottery, or I want somebody to tell me that they have a good business opportunity for me. I'm gonna just take advantage of that. That's how I want it to happen. However, Sun Tzu says that victory can be made, and this is by doing things for and against the opponent in order to observe their formations and how they respond. And this also applies to people, not just enemies or competitors or friend competition, but also the ones you love. So the word opponent applies to contention within anybody, but it's applied differently to people you love than it is to people you're doing, competing in business with, or even more so with your life. But it applies to all those situations. So with someone you love, it just means you might get some resistance from them, right? You might still attack, so to speak. It's not an aggressive attack, right? But you're being assertive, not aggressive, by making your case or whatever. This has been one lesson on The Art of War, Life Lessons, episode 1. That I'm going to start kind of like a little podcast, but I'm by myself. Let me know if you liked it, or hit the like button, or comment if you like. Subscribe if you want to hear more. I have different types of videos, but my whole channel is dedicated purely to The Art of War. If there's anything else on my channel that's not directly The Art of War, it's on there because I'm recommending them as books of tactics that you can use in order to apply The Art of War. Good tactical books, like books on power by Michael Korda, or Khalil Gibran, The Prophet, or Balthasar Gracian, The Art of Worldly Wisdom. I have Aristotle, some things on Aristotle and Confucius. And I know I'm leaving out one. The Book of Five Rings, Miyamoto Musashi. I hope I said that right. And last but not least, Positioning by Al Ries and Jack Trout. And I think those are all excellent books to have an understanding of life and people and marketing yourself. And with that, you can apply The Art of War. Other than that, everything on my channel is about either quotes on The Art of War, or how to apply The Art of War, or how to understand it. Okay, we see you soon. Enjoy. I look forward to some comments or some recommendations, or anything you want me to apply The Art of War to. All right, and be safe, and may the force of momentum, Yoda-like, be with you.